It's part of our team values for our team to give me feedback, and we coach each other constantly. And if I'm beginning to get a little overbooked, scattered, dropping pieces, too tired, they give me feedback. You won't have the mental energy to be intuitive if you're in burnout. And really, burnout is a symptom that I'm going it alone. I've lost my partnership with a higher power. It's interesting, when we're in burnout, it's hard to tell the difference between intuition and wishful thinking. And it's dangerous when you slip into that. So if you really want your higher wisdom to be clear to you, then you need to slow down. And so it is things about noticing if I have an addiction to sugar or junk food or coffee that's going to distort my thinking. And so I take that very seriously, and I'm soon to be 68, and I dare to believe there's no such thing as too old. And I got to study with Margaret Mead, who also had a wonderful spirit, and she too had no plans to retire. You know, she really wanted to live fully as much of her life as she could, as long as she could make a difference. And for me, this is calling and fun and a joy and a gift, and as long as I can have something to contribute, that's really what I want to do. But you ask a good question, because I think we each must daily be accountable to what am I doing for my own sense of purpose, ego, and what is it I'm called to do? Who is it I am to be? Robert Greenleaf asked the very provocative question, or talked about knowing who you are and daring to be that and not all things. And when he told the story of John Woolman and even Thomas Jefferson not trying to do everything that was needed by this young nation, but knowing what his talents were and respecting to only do that. And John Woolman was the Quaker who went up and down the East Coast for 30 years, visiting other Quakers who owned slaves and simply asking the question, is it consistent with our Quaker faith that one man should own another? And by the end of that 30 years, no Quaker owned slaves. And Greenleaf asks, what if there had been 10 other John Woolmans? 100 years later, we had a civil war, which solved very little, because there's still many people in America who, in their hearts, own slaves. They may not be African American, but in the corporation, we have a lot of slavery and a lot of patriarchal attitudes. I think that really is what servant leadership is all about. It's freeing ourselves from the slavery of the paradigm of hierarchy. It enslaves most of all the person at the top.